Hey, what's going on, guys? It has been a hot freaking minute since we have filmed a video from this garage, but we're not doing nothing to this Jeep today. We're actually working on the Rusticon, and let me show you what I got going on with this thing. So first, I installed this Chinesium bumper. Either way, it's still better than the stock bumper, but it is like really super low quality. Even these are like hollowed out right there to where the pin isn't even touching this. Like, I wouldn't pull on this to save my life. So if you can't tell, we're working on the rust. Now if you look, this was mostly surface rust and I've just got it cleaned up with a wire wheel, but there is some chunky stuff here and there. But I have been poking all over this Jeep and I have not got a screwdriver to go through anywhere. So as far as I can tell, nothing's really rotten, it's just orange. Other than that rotted out, but that's behind the fender liner, so we're not going to talk about that. So the reason this looks kind of shiny, I didn't paint it. I actually put some of that rust neutralizing stuff on there, and it's actually, I'm surprised it's dry already because I just sprayed it on there. But it kind of turns a color anywhere that there was leftover rust. Basically what I'm doing with this thing is I'm trying to preserve what's there. I'm not trying to restore it or make it like brand new. I'm not pulling the tub off and sandblasting it. We're just taking care of what's here so that we don't end up with big old gaping holes. And when I put this bumper on, I did the front of the frame horns and all that. This happened actually before I even went to Moab. So this has been sitting on here for quite a while. But yeah, I did like from here forward on the frame horns. So another thing I did, this thing had super bald tires, so I got on the old marketplace and I found like some good old half tread BFGs. They're like a ½ an inch taller than what was on here, so they actually look a lot better and they drive a lot better than those baldies I had. So those are good enough to sell this thing on. Then also had another Chinese headlight people sent these to me, and honestly they're kind of garbage too, because this thing must have the DRL turned on in the computer, so as soon as you pop the e-brake off, it turns on the high beams. Now if you have incandescents in there, it puts them on half voltage, which, so they're not very bright, but because LEDs don't really dim, they're like full brights all the time no matter what I do. So I don't really even like driving this because they're also aimed like straight up into people's windshield, even though I didn't touch the adjusters on it, and this is a stock Jeep. So I don't know if it's just their pattern or whatever, but I don't care. I'm gonna get them pointed down and they'll work. The whole point of this is I'm gonna just sell this thing, so I don't really care. Of course, whoever the new owner is, I put one of my Yankum Rope stickers on there, why not? So if you wanna know the story on that little red Jeep, down in the comments or maybe at the end of the video, I'm gonna link to the 2 other videos that I've done about the red Jeep right there, because it's actually a really cool story of how I got it and how cheap that I got it. So I recommend you check those out if you haven't yet. So when I got this Jeep, it also came with all new stainless hinges, and you can see I just started flaking the bed liner off of these. So I'm almost, I don't know, it's gonna be so tedious to do 8 of them. But honestly, I like the color match better than I like those stainless ones. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna go through and slowly pick away at this, trying not to scratch the paint, or if I'm just gonna switch. But you gotta do some paint work here, because this thing sat in a driveway for 4 years, so it's obviously got some staining. You can see a bunch of it back here in the glass too, which I haven't been able to get this stuff off yet either. So if you guys were wanting a quick update on the YJ, everything came back from Moab in tip-top shape, other than I get this little whine sometimes when I start it. It almost sounds like the power steering's like low on fluid, but it's not. So I don't know what that is. Literally the only thing I broke out there was I chunked that one tire, so I had to go to my spare, and then this one actually started chunking pretty bad too. You can see there's pieces missing, and it split pretty good right there. So like these 2 rear tires had the oldest date code when I picked up these Humvee tires, so I put them back there. So the front ones are doing great, but I do have 3 of these spare BFGs, and they actually feel like a little softer compound. So this is the one that I took off in Moab, so I think I'm gonna split the bead lock and throw this one on there for now. Everything went perfect in Moab. Everything worked great. And honestly, can you really beat that? To go that far to wheel for 5 days. Granted, a couple of those days were really easy trails, but you know, doing it all as a shakedown because I did all that work over the winter without testing it. I just drove 1,200 miles to Moab and tested it there. And so I'm super stoked that everything pretty much worked perfectly. Oh yeah, I wanted to give you guys a little trip update too. So my friends that I went down to S'more with last year, if you watch those S'more videos. So we do a trip called the Adequate Adventure. We go wherever. This year was supposed to be Hot Springs Off-Road Park in Arkansas, but with the state of the current gas prices, they've decided to call off the trip.
How dare you!
So I literally don't have any wheeling planned as of right now, but I do want to get out a couple, at least like 5 more times this summer, I think. So I got to start figuring that out. Anyway, those guys are talking about trying to find something closer to home to wheel, so we might end up at Badlands, Indiana. If I do end up at an off-road park, I will make a post on my Instagram and here on my YouTube page so that if anybody wants to meet up or come say hi, you can do just that. So as soon as I know, you guys will know. Alright guys, so I want to talk about a couple things that I've had to do in here. First of all, this transfer case linkage. It has a plastic bushing to the cable. I can't show it to you because I'm not taking this console out again. It was a pain, but I basically made a new bushing out of a steel nut that I rounded all the corners off, drilled the hole out bigger, threw it on there, and basically zip tied it together. I ain't gonna lie, but it works now, so I have 4-wheel drive now. Secondly, this thing has like a dead CAN bus on the OBD2 port, so there is no voltage at the voltage pin as far back as I can trace it, including to the fuse box. Sorry, the fuses are good. I just cannot figure out why I do not have voltage on here. So this thing has some ABS codes and some other stuff. It has the Christmas tree dash going on. I'm trying to stay in here out of the wind. So it has the Christmas tree dash thing going on. So rather than use my scanner to figure out which wheel it is, since it won't freaking work, I just found a 4-pack of the ABS sensors for like 30 bucks on Amazon. So those will be here like tomorrow. I'm gonna get those on there. That's the only codes I have. I don't have check engine codes, which is actually awesome. So this thing has an exhaust leak, which if you've watched any of the videos about this Jeep, you've heard that right from the first time I fired it up. So I gotta work on that too. And I need to get selling this thing because I got some shit I wanna buy for my Jeep, and this is how I'm paying for it. If you can see on my exhaust manifold right there, there's 2 cracks. I believe that's a crack, and I believe that's a crack. But with this inner fender liner out of the way, and with this thing kind of all chewed up, I think I can push this out of the way and get those ground out and weld them without trying to take all the studs out of the block, because I really don't want to break any off trying to replace that. But anyway, that's not going to be in this one, but when I do that, I'll definitely record it and throw in another video. So this is what most of this frame looks like. I literally just started here, so it's not rotten at all. There are some places it's a little worse, like this shit right here, but it flakes off and everything's still solid. So it's mostly just a cleanup job. These shocks have seen better days though, holy cow. This rotor's seen better days too, but I'm in here to change this ABS sensor. I don't know why, I just got a feeling that it's the left rear, so it's the one I'm doing first. Alright, so there's the frame after about 10-15 minutes worth of wire wheel and everything. I was kind of working on these arms, and I also took the fender liner out, which you can see. This is a little bit Swiss cheese, but I hit it with the old needle scaler, got all the crunchies off, and I'm just gonna seal and protect this all the best I can. Alright, so check this out. These are the little clips that hold like the inner fender liners on, and they are such a freaking pain to get out. And I knew they made tools, but I just never bought one. Well, I finally bought a kit. I'm gonna link this down in Amazon cart, but it was 630 pieces, all different varieties. There's actually 3 layers in here. Plus, these ones are kind of cool because they're like zip ties that come with the little push pins. But this thing, oh my god, this thing made it so easy. It took me like 20 minutes to get the front one off with a screwdriver, and the rear one came out in like 2 minutes with this. I think this whole thing was only like $14. So yeah, check out my Amazon link and pick one of these up, guys. It's so freaking worth the money. I'm so tired of breaking and fighting these clips over the years, and I don't know why it took me this long to buy some of these. So they're a little bit tricky to get to. So that is the ABS sensor. There's a little 8mm bolt right there. It's a little bit tough to get on. And I gotta pop this red clip so that I can get the harness off. I'm gonna have to try to take this sway bar link off to get to that 8mm bolt because it's just not cooperating. I can get a socket on it, but not a ratchet because there's not enough room. And I can't get the wrench on there because it's kind of recessed in there. So, let's see if the old PB blaster will be my friend. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Now let's see if we can get at this pig. This thing's awful small to be that tight. There we go. If it breaks off in there, it's going to be really hard to get out. Make sure you use your best pry bar. So there's the sensor. I've pulled it out like that far and it's hung up on something. Not quite sure what. Well, since it doesn't want to play nice, we're gonna get our old friend the channel locks out. Jiminy Christmas. There we go. One ABS sensor. There's the new one. There's no O-rings on it. Just for good measure, we're gonna blow up the hole. Well, this is what the new one looks like, so this thing or something down here is what's hanging me up. I actually got a question for you guys. Does anybody know what brand of safe that is, and do you also know if they send replacement keys? Because I do not have the key to this and I'd like to get it. So I had noticed the rear brakes were looking really bad, so I took this rotor off and I tried really hard to clean it up and reuse it, but it's just so pitted and I was just hitting it and like chunks were coming out of the surface. The inside where the parking brake hits was really bad too. These shinier areas are where I like flaked off big old thick pieces of it. It's hard to tell, but it's really gouged out all around here. There's low spots, there's pits all over it. So I found some new ones for 25 bucks a piece. So I'm kind of just waiting on brake hardware now. But when I was doing that, this is the caliper bracket and this slide pin was still nice and greasy. They don't even thread in. The bolt threads into this, they just slide, but it was so seized in there that it broke off. So I have drilled it out, I heated it up. I was going at it with the easy out last night. It felt like it was about to break, so I just filled it full of PB Blaster and let it sit overnight. So we're gonna try this again to get this pin out of here so that I don't have to buy a whole new bracket. We're gonna see if we can't get this sucker out of here. Good God, this thing's gonna break, I think. It's messed up because this isn't even a bolt, it's just a slide pin. It's just supposed to slide in there like that, but it's so rusted that it's seized up. I think we're gonna have to hit it with fire again. This torch sucks. I don't think this thing is tuned for MAP gas. I think it's for propane, so it won't even self-ignite and it has a hard time staying lit. Oh, the PB Blaster caught on fire inside of there. That's awesome. It's like a freaking volcano. Let's see if we can't shock it with some cold PB Blaster. Honestly, if this don't get it out, I don't think it's coming out. My God! Oh nope, it's just gonna round it. Guess I can just keep drilling it out bigger. There's not much bigger I can go though. Well, you know what they say, when all else fails, try the vice grips. These are not my favorite pair, by the way. Ooh. Holy moly, that's biting on something hard. Oh, it's moving! Got it! Look at that. It just stuck right to the drill bit. Fantastic. Here's the real test. Oh yeah. You know what that means, right? It means don't give up. When these things are being a pain in the ass, keep fighting at them. Sometimes it'll surprise you, and you might just get it. It looks like I did it without damaging anything, so crisis averted, bracket saved. So I'm on hold until those brake parts come. The parking brake shoes actually look pretty decent. I'm just gonna clean them up because I had sprayed a bunch of PB Blaster in there because the drums were actually, well, they're rotors, but the inside of the rotor acts like a drum for these, and they were so crusted up it took me forever to get this rotor off. And I'm gonna clean up these backing plates, and I'm just gonna get this all ready for brakes. Part of me wants to just drop these axles out of this thing and make it a hover Jeep so that I can attack like the bottom of the frame easier and stuff, but it's a lot of work. Other than that, this section just needs a little bit more cleanup, and it's ready for me to pour 15 it and get it painted. So, you know, the reason I'm only showing you guys bits and pieces of this whole thing is because, honestly, it's kind of boring. Do you want to watch me grind rust for 10 hours? Because I don't even want to do it. I'm sure nobody wants to watch it either. I'm trying to just show you guys little tidbits of what it is that I'm working on. But yeah, as of right now, it's Saturday afternoon. I got to have this video up Monday, so I think we're going to end it here. Thanks for watching, guys. This little update on the red JK. When I get more parts and more stuff, I'll show you some more, and we'll see you next time.